welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We've had a little camera trouble, so
pain
I had
and
to do this
suffering
once or twice, but I'm just starting to get good at it. But anyway, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show, guys. Tyler's talking RC. I'm here with Tyler P. and Olin. Band is back together. We're all here again. I believe this is the 10th episode too, by the way. It just dawned on me as well. So make sure like and subscribe so we can keep going. So you can see more of Olin. But we got a pretty good show planned this evening. We got, or this afternoon, or whenever you're watching this, I suppose.
Oh, it's going to be midnight by the time we get this rolled out.
But we're talking about Onroad, tracks, classes, what goes down here at Madness, asphalt, carpet, the whole show. But up first, we got to go over a little bit of the news here, upcoming events. This Sunday is the January Jam Off-Road Race. It should be a good time. Doors open at 9, racing at 11. Nothing out of the ordinary there. And then we got another plug for the Mini Nats. March 19th. It's going to be a good time. I think it's the 20th as well, 2-day event. So that should be a good time. There will be an exclusive podcast about that one.
So would it be a mini podcast?
No, it's not going to be a mini podcast. It'll probably more or less
normal
be full
length,
if not a longer, to be honest with you. No, my buddy Dean's going to be on there with you, and he likes to talk. So shout out to Dean. Love you, buddy. All right, and then next event coming up, we got the live stream, the 26th. I'm super excited about that. It went awesome last time. Mm-hmm. Might be doing something fun. I don't know. We'll see what goes there. But we're just going to be answering questions and see whatever pops up and go from there. Nothing too crazy, but should have a good time. So hopefully everybody can join us for that. And let's see. And then I got a new video out with the 24 scale Panda RC crawler. It's a pretty sweet car. The video came out pretty good. So check that out. We got them in stock in the store, packed full of features in a nice little car.
So, you know what I realized when I watched that video? Is it has the magnetic body mount.
It's pretty slick.
And it also has lights in the body, right?
The lights are wired into the magnets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Check out the video. Tyler sent it to me earlier today. He was like, hey, I did some editing in this one. Let me know what you think. It's a banger. It came out really, really good.
The truck is pretty cool, too. So check it out.
Also, yes.
Yeah, so the body was honestly one of my favorite parts.
That's clever.
Let's see. And then, that's pretty much it for events. The only thing is we got the merch store up and running now. We got Tyler's Talk RC shirts, YouTube channel shirts, New Wave, RCM, hats, sweatshirts, the whole thing. That's through Streamlabs, so Streamlabs/RCMadness merch store there. Link down below, of course. But if you're just listening, check it out. Any profit from that goes back into the program to help us continue doing this because we love doing it. But the equipment is not free. And come to find out, it keeps getting more expensive every day for all this computer stuff. So that just helps us out there. So, and I ordered one of each so we can all check it out. So hopefully it'll be in time for the live event. But
so you knew my size.
It's going to be close. Yeah.
Extra medium.
Extra large on everything.
So I got a question.
You guys squeeze into it.
If we sell a bunch of these shirts and stuff, can I get a trailer?
Only if they want to buy one for you.
That's a no.
Olin Newman trailer, and you can just...
We could split a storage container.
That works.
Need someone new to put your makeup on?
I'm just saying. Diva moments.
And as always, guys, if you got any suggestions or anything for future podcasts or anything like that, hit us up in the comments or message me. Anything you guys want us to talk about, let us know. We're all ears, and I appreciate the support. On that note, I'm going to pass it over to Tyler P. He's got some updates for us.
Yeah, so a couple of fun things real quick. This was something I'll just give it to you.
I'll hold it up for you.
We talked about in the last, actually 2 or 3 podcasts ago. I finally got the LCG chassis installed in my B63 and ran a few packs with it today. The car does feel a little bit more sure-footed and a little more forgiving. The carpet has also kind of mellowed out, so the need for it is arguably less, but this may end up becoming my mod car, and if that's the case, then I'll take anything that makes the car easier to drive because I get twitchy. Yeah, between the Phantom motor, the black chassis, the much more ESC.
So they can read it.
It's a good looking car, but yeah.
It says low center of gravity, engineered in Germany. What's that? Revolution Designs. Yeah.
Yes.
V63.
And they have like a low CG servo mount if you really want to go bananas, but it's still plenty stiff. There's a little bit of, if you flip it back up, you can see the cutout to allow the motor to sit lower. That's cool and all, but it's also using airplane term here, a FOD concern, foreign object damage. So if you see body clips on the track, please pick them up. You may save one of my motors.
Yeah.
But, I don't think it's a really big risk. And it also lets the air get at the motor a little bit better, so it runs cooler.
Yeah.
So far, I'm pretty impressed with the fit and finish. Like I said, might start running mod. And long wheelbase, low CG car should be good. So
Track update soon.
yeah.
I got another interesting thing here from Tyler P. What do you got?
So one of the things I do every month, since I have the dyno, we've done a video on that. Probably should do a couple more. Or maybe I'll start feeding you footage that you can use on the channel.
Yeah, I would love to check it out.
But so I bought this motor dyno, and I've been playing with it. Kind of like if people have questions about a motor of theirs, I can run it, tell them whether it's a turd or not. But I like to experiment with stuff that most people wouldn't bother with. So I picked up this motor. You want to hold?
Yes, sir.
It's
unbox it.
It's a
for you.
Hobby Star censored. They call it it's a 540 V3
Fire.
when you're holding it at the right orientation. But it's basically I don't know if I want to call it off-brand, but it's an off-brand 17.5 that I bought because it looks pretty awesome.
It's pretty slick packaging too. I'm not gonna lie. It comes in like a nice little like servo box here.
Yep.
Well, it's even got some literature on the bottom.
Yeah, there's info on the bottom. It comes with a little sensor
Little light
wire.
reading.
But the thing I liked about this motor was, first of all, the price. It's like $80. It already comes with aluminum screws, which most companies like Trinity, et cetera, are going to whack you $20 to get in your motor.
I'm gonna do it.
Oh, he's living life dangerously. He's going to use the Zoom, which may or may not have caused heartburns earlier. The other thing is this motor, to the best of my knowledge, is not a copy or a rebrand of an existing motor. So I was curious to see what the deal is with it.
I feel like I'm on like QVC.
We just need like the banner with the price and stuff on the side. It has a super stout rotor.
Yeah, it does.
It is.
It's super strong on this
It's
thing.
every bit as strong as my super duper certified Trinity. So that came today. It's going on the dyno tomorrow. And maybe like I said, maybe I'll send you a little video you can post quick.
Very nice.
It's a cool motor.
It's very nice.
And it's anodized orange, so that makes me happy.
It does look pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is the Aurora approved?
I want to say yes. And I will say yes if it's fast and I run it.
Might have a sticker on it. Raw approved.
Yeah. It's gonna have a Tyler Clokey original.
I have to work up a...
Gotcha.
But yeah, so that was that. That's what I've been tinkering on. Just
Cool.
the normal stuff.
And Olin, you've been playing with something here?
Oh, yes.
Completely unrelated to Onroad, but Olin was so excited that we had to share.
Very excited.
I'll let you. They know what it is. I got some videos up on there.
Oh, yeah.
This is Olin's sweet ride.
I definitely copied Justin on this one. A little bit of a different setup, but it's a LC Racing 1/14 scale buggy. Car is sick. Nice build.
It's a good looking little buggy.
It is, and it's fun when it's not being run over by
So it's
stadium trucks.
It's a little teaser for the Mini Nats episode.
Yeah, that's one of the classes right there.
We'll have a bunch of these up here, and we'll definitely talk a little deeper about these, but Olin was pretty excited about it, so I figured we'd share.
And my custom paint job.
It's a custom paint job. You can't buy quality like that.
No.
You really can't.
Look at the.
It has to be. You have to develop.
Or would you want
have
to?
to develop this painting skill over time.
In my defense, there's no other people running that color.
I wonder why.
That is one color, right? It's not like you're mixing two different.
No, it's
Okay.
just it's that blue and you just
It's
bang.
barely even one color.
Fair.
It's
Hey, I'm not going to throw shade on a single color
It's a
paint job.
It's a
so-
lightweight paint job for speed.
It's a blue with a silver backing. Okay.
Two-tone.
Okay.
It's two-tone. Yeah.
But I like it.
Olin's proprietary color.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see that color, you know who's driving it.
Pretty much.
Or who owned it.
Or who.
Most likely who owned it. But yeah, it was a cool build. Very fun to do. Fun to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody should get one. And I did do a video on it on the channel, the LC Racing
Yeah,
Buggy.
it's definitely there.
A little more in depth on that, but of course, we will circle back to that for the mini Nats podcast. So if you're liking that kind of stuff, we'll have more.
Yes. But before we change, one little small plug. Thursday nights they do run those cars. So if you want to grab one and come out and practice, get a feel for it before the Nats, they run every Thursday night starting at 7. That's why I picked them up, because I've been watching the guys run them. They are fun. They run them on the big track. Well, that class they run on the big track. So they run the.
Yeah, they're plenty fast enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're approaching like stock buggy fast.
Probably fast. They're
Faster.
faster.
You
Olin
think?
actually threw in the
Oh.
Mod Stadium class last night. And it was just as fast as Mod Stadium.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go.
I would have won, but they ran me over.
Yeah, he was a little outsized. And yeah, we'll
Yeah.
blame it on that.
It was kind of my fault. I ran it with the big dogs, but it was fun.
But yeah, Thursday nights. Check it out, guys. Awesome. Great time.
Cool
Minis.
stuff.
Cool
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
But we're coming down to the main category of tonight's show, which is on-road racing here at Madness. I got some examples of cars here. But first, I'm going to talk about the tracks that we have, and then I'll go into the classes. And then, I brought some models here we can kind of show off a little bit. I don't have everything we race here, but this is what I've collected from our friends. Shout out to those guys that lent me their cars, because none of these cars are actually mine, except the touring car over here is one of ours. But
So this is going to be like the fake it until you make it podcast, where we do our best to explain stuff that
I'm sure
we don't know that well.
I'm sure I got some friends that are going to be yelling at me for missing something or saying something wrong. So take it for what you will. But I'm just giving you guys a breakdown of what happens here at Madness, more or less. Not so much in depth about each class, but what we run.
Yeah.
So basically, the tracks we got here, we got an outdoor asphalt track right outside here. We only run in summer for obvious reasons. And then we have the indoor carpet track all the way in the back of the building, the far end, opposite of the hobby shop. And then I think that's it. I was going to say we had another one, but we don't. We just transfer the carpet track between oval and road course.
Right.
So we really have 2 tracks, but run 3 tracks, if that makes sense. Because the indoor carpet track goes from oval racing to road course racing. Same track, completely different layout. So that's pretty cool. So we have those 3, and then we do various classes on those 3 on different days. So currently in the winter, we run oval on Saturday nights at 6 o'clock, and road course racing on Sunday at, we just try to shoot for 11 o'clock start time. Sometimes we go a little later. It's pretty laid back Sunday racing. Unless it's a trophy race, then it's a little more scheduled. And then we switch to the summer. We actually switch to, we don't run any oval on Saturdays anymore in the summer, because they go and run dirt racing in Bethel, I think it's called. Sorry if that's not the right place. Trying to give you a plug there. My buddy Romo. They race dirt racing, so we don't bother with that in the summertime. But we do about 3 to 4 asphalt oval events throughout the summer, so that's pretty fun. But for the most part, it's Saturday road course racing on the asphalt track in the summertime, starting at 1 o'clock. So that's kind of the brief schedule of what we do. Of course, trophy races and special events mixed in between there that are, I can't really say they're scheduled or not, because sometimes we just come up with stuff. But yeah, that's the tracks. Now the classes is what we're going to probably talk about the most here, which I grabbed not all of them, but a few of them here. So we'll talk about the carpet on-road racing that we're doing, because that's what we're doing right now in the winter. So I'll talk about the biggest classes right now at Madness for road course racing, which is Sundays. I guess we'll start at the end here and work our way around. Well, I know Olin's built a few of these in the past too. Well, maybe not. Have you done GT12?
I did.
You did do GT12, just not when it was cool.
I know I did.
Olin does everything before it's cool, and then sells it before everybody starts doing it.
Trendsetter.
If you held on to them a little bit longer, you'd have them,
But then something else shiny catches my eye, and then I gotta move on.
If you're ahead of the wave, it pushes you.
Olin is in front of the wave by a lot.
I'm ahead of my time.
He's so much in the future. But anyway, this is the GT12 class, which by far this year has got the most amount of traction so far. This is really a class that we didn't really run at all last year, and then the beginning of this year was kind of And then a few guys jumped into it, and it kind of took off. So we actually just started running them on Tuesday nights as well, because a couple guys had so much interest that they wanted to run Tuesday nights as well. So we've been running Tuesday nights pretty consistently with the on-road. We've been doing the GT12 and the Formula 1 on Tuesdays, so I didn't forget about that one. But this is your GT12, so this is a 1/12 scale. That's where it's getting its name from. These are two-wheel drive. Try to pull the body off. Shout out to Tony for letting me borrow his pink and yellow Lamborghini, old school, new school Lamborghini. I don't really know what the body's supposed to be there.
Isn't it the Countach?
It's got a kind of Countach front end kind of vibe, but the back end not so much.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, that's okay. We're gonna mess with the zoom again. Bring you guys in. So this is a 1/12 scale. This is the Schumacher 12 scale here too. All carbon fiber cars. They do sell them with aluminum chassis too. But we run these on one cell with I think 21.5 motor, one cell. So they're not terribly fast, but they handle pretty amazing. Nothing goes around a corner like these 12 scales. Foam tire. Pretty simple cars, to be honest with you, and they're super fun to drive, super fun cars to drive. They handle pretty amazing. You can borderline hold the throttle wide open all the time and do the course. You do have to let off and hit the brakes for some tight stuff, so there's a little bit of driving involved, don't get me wrong. But these things, honestly, a lot of fun right now. That's the GT12 class. I don't know if you guys have any input or want to say anything about that.
So these obviously come as a kit.
Yes.
Correct.
Fun build.
What's the kit run?
It depends on the brand. I'm going to say most of these are between 200 and 400, depending on if it's got a carbon chassis or a graphite chassis or aluminum. Depending on the car you get. I think the one we're looking at here is in the $300 range, the Schumacher one, but they do have a couple models. I think the Atom and the Eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the prices well enough off the top of my head, but we do stock them here at Madness if you're interested. I think this is an Atom. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. It could be an Eclipse, but I know it is the Schumacher variant.
So I mean, this is like a really straight. I can see why this class is popular. It's pretty straightforward. The front end, you can adjust the spring rate
Right.
of the suspension. That's about it. It looks like.
Yeah. You
And
got
then the
dampers.
rear, you've got.
So pretty similar to what, the Opal pan cars and stuff. Just that everything is on center and not offset.
Right. Wow,
So-
what a good looking car.
Yeah. And then to lead off of that, that's the GT12 class. So basically, we have to run like a realistic-ish kind of body.
Here.
This one's obviously
Production.
not a licensed body, so it's not technically realistic, but you know what I'm saying. So you have to run a realistic type body, and then it's a 21.5 motor, one cell. So that's the class for that. And then there's this class, which is basically the same car, but clearly a different body design. I call them wedge bodies. These bodies handle much better, and we actually run this class with a 17.5, not a 21.5, so it's a good bit faster. But the GT12 is far and away more popular than this class, just because the 21.5 is that much easier to drive, and just getting into the class, and with the realistic body look, I think people are just having more fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
This class is less forgiving because of the speed coming into the corners and stuff like that. But I did want to show you guys that too. Tyler's got something yoking him over here.
Yeah, so subtle differences I'm noticing as I look now. Maybe this is an optional thing, but this one does not have a diff. It has a locker.
We run them locked.
I noticed that one has a ball diff.
Correct. So the GT12, some guys are running these locked too. Actually, this is just Tyler's car. He hasn't run it in a little while. But the current trend is to run the rear end locked. There's just so much traction in these cars, they didn't really need a diff.
I heard the oval guy, like the 10th scale guys, are doing that too.
Yeah, the lock diff with the traction right now is pretty popular move. They actually do make a little gear diff for these too now. Yeah, they make a solid axle gear diff. Aeromax makes it, which is pretty cool. But typically they would have a ball diff, which we will see in the Formula 1 car, which I suppose I can talk about now.
You want to clear these out?
We'll leave them lined up.
Back to the end.
Alright. This is the Formula 1, which is the second most popular class. Sometimes the first, depends on which day you come. But these are pretty cool. I'll get you guys in here, check that out. So this is my buddy Bill's Formula One car. I believe this is an X-Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Which year, I'm not 100% sure. But he's got it painted up like the Ferrari car, so that's pretty cool. Even got the little 3D printed halo on there. Keep up with the times of the modern cars. So that's pretty cool. I'll pop the body off so you guys can check that out. In this class, we do run rubber tires, not foam tires. So they're pretty.
And they are surprisingly grippy.
These ones have been broken in pretty good, so they actually, most of these cars we put what we call traction compound on there. It's SXT. So basically it softens up the tires, the rubber or the foam, and you get a very noticeable amount more traction. It's almost to the point where it's essential. So this is a Formula One. My buddy Bill is just a wizard with wiring, so don't take too many notes. This is the Formula One X-Ray makes. This is pretty cool. This one does have the ball diff in the back. They're all carbon fiber, aluminum.
That thing is gorgeous. Look at all the anodizing.
Two-wheel drive.
Jeez.
Like I said, all rubber tires. This class is really awesome. It doesn't handle quite as well as the GT12 class. Those are by far the best handling cars. Just 12 scale in general. On road courses, usually the best. But these are pretty good. But they do take a little more effort to get used to. Just because they're so long and the rubber tires, you don't get quite as much traction with a rubber tire as you do the foam tires. But on the flip side, the rubber tires essentially last forever on the carpet. You can get a long time opposed to foam.
That is fun on the asphalt.
Yeah, we do run these on the asphalt road course as well. We don't really run GT12 out in the asphalt. They're a little too low to the ground, and
the foam would get eaten up.
Yeah, the foams get eaten up. And they do make rubber tires for them, but the guys didn't really seem to care for them too much.
No.
But we do. This is probably the biggest class out on the road course for summertime asphalt racing. But we run them all year round. Formula One is a pretty sweet class. Very popular. Shout out to Bill. Thank you, buddy. So check that out. We do run these on Saturdays as well with the GT12s. So check those out.
With those, you can actually hear the rubber at the end of the straight and those turn. You can hear like the
Really?
It does make little squeaky
Oh,
sounds.
that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's what drove me into it. And I was just like, oh, these things are sick.
Yeah, it does make like sneakers on like a wood floor. Like, it's pretty sweet.
I see the appeal of those for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like an F1 car.
It really does.
It has the rubber tires.
Yeah, and the guys love painting up the bodies, like all the different liveries. They got the Red Bull. Brian's got a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, and the light in the back.
The little.
He does.
Yeah,
does he
some
have
people.
that
Yeah, some.
Oh, Bill. Yeah,
yeah,
Bill's
the
got
little
he's
red
got the
light in the
blinking light in the back.
So it makes it look
And
like
then
a
they got
brake
the
light.
guys got 3 lights on them, and they all they do the flashing thing when you hit the brakes.
So did you say what do they run for a motor?
Oh, that's a good one. I
21,
think
17?
it's 25.5 actually.
25.5
Yeah, so there's actually
on 2-cell?
2-cell.
Ah, okay.
So there's actually I think 2 different rules that Formula One goes by. I think they do. I think they do have a 21.5 class and they have a 25.5 class. That I think just depends on the facility that you're going to. Here we run 25 with the 2-cell, so it's fairly equivalent to the 17 on 1-cell, or give or take. So that's pretty cool. So it's essentially to build one of these one of those is basically the same cost as doing up a buggy. Like if you're into off-road and you didn't really know much about on-road, cost-wise, they're essentially the same. I think sedans are the only thing that start getting out of that because they're a little more expensive.
Well, that's a full-size car.
Yeah.
It's much more complicated, I think.
I guess it's more similar to building a four-wheel drive off-road car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the X-ray cars they're getting up there in price. They're talking $600-700 now.
Oh, but it's a luxury car.
It's very luxury.
And they're sick.
They are pretty sweet. I mean, honestly, the machine work that goes into them is pretty good.
Yeah.
But for those of you curious, cost-wise, it's essentially the same as building an off-road buggy. You're going to be probably $1,000, give or take, wherever you are. It's the same size motor, battery, servo. It's the chassis kits are 300-400, so it's the same ballpark.
But the one good thing about the stadium trucks, you can use a just stock ESC. And
What are you talking about? Sedan?
yeah, the sedans.
Oh.
You can use the just stock ESCs and those that cheap out a little bit. Well, not really cheap, but save
Oh, you
out some
can-
money.
Well, I'm just saying 1,000.
So
just, you can go. You can spend two.
You can,
whatever on
but
it,
there's ways of cutting.
we actually run the just stocks a lot in the
Yeah.
Formula car. There's no need to go too crazy. It's just 25.5.
Yeah, you're not really going that fast.
Well, we can talk about the sedan now that we brought it up here. Pass me. Actually,
Yeah, I kind of want to see that one.
So this is actually one of our house cars.
Jeez, that's good looking.
Sedan. It is an X-Ray. Let's see if we get you there. I don't know exactly what year it is.
16.
Is it a 16?
Yeah, it's a 16.
16.
Dude, that thing's out of warranty.
Yeah.
Time to upgrade.
Too many miles on it. I think this was actually donated by my buddy Alex. So shout out to him if he's checking it out. Miss you, buddy. So this is an X-Ray
One of the best years.
T4.
16, 17 was one of the best years.
16. Olin's saying a 16. I don't know enough to argue with him, so I'm going to let him have that one. Ooh.
Well, I think I asked to buy it. That's why I know the price.
Gotcha. Yeah, X-Ray kind of goes by a year because they come out with a new one every year.
Yep.
So that's how they do it. That being said, you do not need to get the newest year X-Ray to be competitive.
No.
I think their newest one is the X12, and it's like $740 now.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's insane, but it's a really cool car. But it's insane.
It's sick.
Let's see if I can get you guys back in here so you can check out the aluminum a little bit before we.
So it's 4-wheel drive, belt drive.
Yep,
Yep,
belt driven.
belt driven.
Gear diffs?
Gear diffs in the rear.
Looks
front
like the
is
front's a
spool.
spool. Yeah.
Yes.
So now that you guys check that out, we'll talk about it a little bit more.
Wow.
So this we ran on, I believe, no, he's got this set up for 21.5. So 21.5 is the US GT class, so that's what we call that. So essentially it's 2-cell, 21.5 with these spec rubber tires from Gravity RC. I think Ride makes them as well, but you have to run these tires with a somewhat realistic production-looking car body for that class. So that's the US GT class. And like we were talking before, this just has a Trinity lock cam motor and a adjust stock in it. So you're only talking maybe $100 into the motor and speed control. And then I don't even know what servo's in there. Looks like actually a decent Futaba one.
Yeah.
So you're probably in the $300-400 into electronics, and then the car I think is about $540. So again, you're about $1,000 to $1,200 to get into that. So
Wow.
this class was probably the most popular, and then it kind of faded out, and people seem to have gone to the GT12. But this one definitely gets a lot more traction outside on the asphalt. We run a lot more sedan GT outside.
Yeah.
They get a little more ride height to them, and they're 4-wheel drive. So traction is not nearly as consistent out on the asphalt as it is the carpet, just because of the weather. Rain or no rain, hot sun, cool day, pavement's hot, pavement's cold. Traction fluctuates a lot more than it does in here. So 4-wheel drive is a little more helpful outside. So between F1 and the GT, they're both the most popular outside, and then we kind of take a break from the sedan GT and switch to the GT12 for the carpet racing, if that makes sense. I'm trying to articulate 3 different tracks.
No upgrades needed at all on those cars.
Yeah, there's not many upgrades for the on-road game in general.
No, it's just pretty much.
There's definitely some.
But that must be nice.
Yeah.
Where it's like you build the car and you're done. You just drive.
I mean, it is a $500-600 car, so it's.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't
Hopefully
turn into the hop up of the day game and all that.
Yeah, the 10 scale buggy racing is definitely the most hop-upable class. Hop-upable class. On-road's pretty similar to 8 scale, where there's like a couple key parts depending on what car you have, but after that it's essentially just run it and work on setup, because that's all that really matters. There's no jumps or anything, so there's a lot less factors into being fast than just not crashing. So yeah, that's the sedan GT, US GT class. That's what they call it. So if you want to look at the rules, US GT, I believe is what it is. So they run these in a few places, here being one of them. So that's pretty cool. So that's the majority of the on-road classes here. We do have a few that show up occasionally, like we have Euro Truck, which is the Tamiya TTO1 class with the racing semi, which is pretty cool. We do sometimes run the Legends cars on the road course and the oval. What else sometimes?
Mud Boss?
No, Mud Boss is oval. Which we'll talk about in a second.
Oh, the Vortex, the Traxxas Vortex.
Oh, we did have a box stock Vortex class for a while too. That kind of faded out a little. It's a little trendy for the on-road stuff. Depending, if we got sometimes we just have a group of guys that'll buy 5 of the same car and want to run them, and we'll run it for a season, but then they don't come back the next year. So the classes vary between the 3 that we just talked about. That's definitely the most consistent classes if you want to get into it. But other than that, it's a little bit trendy. So just be careful with that.
The what are they? Hibacho 4-wheel drive trucks.
Those never I can never say that. How about?
Yeah.
Those were good.
Those were awesome trucks, but they didn't really seem to catch on, unfortunately.
They were good for. I think the same year that you guys did the Vortex. I think the year those two.
Yeah, I guess maybe we just decided to go Vortec.
Yeah.
Just because they were already ready to go.
Right. But those two classes were pretty fun classes to run.
Yeah. They weren't bad cars, and the Euro truck is pretty cool too. They kind of just like hop around the corners.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I've seen them race. It's like they just.
I think they're like $160 for the kit,
Mm-hmm.
and then that includes the motor too and speed control.
Yeah. The only thing you had to add to that is
Yeah.
it comes with brass.
Bushings.
Yeah.
So
I don't
you
even think
can
they're brass.
put
I
no,
think
they're
just the Teflon
they're
brass.
plastic.
They're just the Teflon ones.
Oh, they are?
The white plastic. Yeah.
Whoa.
So you can put ball bearings.
A
in
Yeah.
bearing kit's like
Yeah.
$20.
Yeah, that's
They're
the
all
only
like-
thing
they're mostly
that
the
you got to
same
put in
size.
there. But another fun build. The only thing I didn't like about those was the body. Putting the body.
It's a bunch of
together.
pieces,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Putting the body together was a nightmare on that thing.
And then when I was putting it together, I forgot to paint a part of it, so I had to like cut it and then re-glue it. After. I was like, ugh.
A buddy of mine at work.
Sorry to cut you off.
No. I hope I didn't cut you off.
No, you're good.
All right.
I was just
I
apologize.
feel like somebody cut me off.
Nobody listens.
Nobody
to you.
cares.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I started a new job and was working with this guy and started talking about Madness. And he was like, "Oh, I got to go up there." He bought one of those Euro trucks,
Yeah, I remember.
and he came up and he played with it for a little while. And kind of like you said about the trendiness, where people pick something up and it doesn't take off for whatever reason, but he had fun with it. And so shout out to Bruce. But I've been trying to talk him into now getting a mini, because the Nats are coming up, and I talked to him all about last year's event and how much fun it was, and how it's like it's $150. You buy it, you run it, you're done. But it's cool. So he does have that Euro truck still, and he did say that the body was an absolute total beat-up.
That was the only thing I did not like about those.
No fun. I gave that to somebody to paint.
That is the only car that I will outsource.
I said, I don't want
I'm
to
like
do this
not
again.
doing it.
I looked at it and I said, I don't even know how to cut this thing out.
East Coast Custom.
Yes. Yeah.
Here you go, Bob Smith.
Basically.
Dean.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They're both awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the Euro Truck class was a pretty good one for a little while. It kind of faded out a little bit when we stopped doing the TCS races too,
Yes.
which I don't know if they're coming back or not. So I'm not sure about that. I don't. Twy hasn't really reached out about that. The COVID kind of
Kibosh on that.
yeah, kind of fizzled that one out. But that's okay. What else we got? We got oval racing. And we talked about a little bit about the on-road classes, and we got the oval classes, which I will be the first to admit I am not the most knowledgeable about. Tyler P. has some knowledge from previous years.
Yeah.
But I don't think that still applies though. It's like
Back in the 60s when they ran oval. Back in
Gonna do me like that, huh?
Yep.
back in when
Ouch.
when
Love
they were
you, bro.
still tied to a cord. I think they were still attached by a cord and you had to chase it around, right?
Yeah, you didn't have to chase it.
Yeah,
You
no.
just stood still, and it
Just ran
it
in
went
circles,
around you.
Run in
It
circles.
was convenient.
You were-
Low impact.
Man, I just did 50 laps in circles.
Yeah, start with the motor and let it go.
Feeling a little dizzy.
Not quite that bad.
No, I mean oval was it was the second car I ever built after my Blackfoot, and it was the first type of racing, which good lord, if you told somebody today like, I know the kind of racing you want to do for RC,
Yeah.
it probably wouldn't be oval, but it was the first kind of racing I did, and it was
Sorry, guys.
it was amazing and difficult all at the same time. But the guys that were at the track and the owners of, so it was KNRC in Stafford, which if any old timers are watching, that might ring a bell. But it was just such a cool place, and I think they took pity on me because I was like 12. So whereas like my old boss, I actually found out this week that he tried to run oval in the 90s, and he was like, yeah, he goes, they were a bunch of jerks. They were like, this is expensive and hard, don't do it. But yet I went there and everybody was helping me. They were
They're
like,
not
no,
wrong.
no, it is. Oval I would say is potentially one of the hardest like realms of this hobby to get into and be competitive.
I would agree.
like with buggy, you can copy somebody's setup, you can build the car, and the hard part is the 3 months it takes you to learn how to run laps semi-clean. With oval, I mean, and it's unfortunately it's the popularity has declined over the years. That knowledge base is getting smaller and smaller. You can't go on Pettit RC and be like, oh, this is my Hyperdrive Pro 5. I'm going to copy so-and-so setup from this big race. But to me, like, when I look at a pan car, an oval car, it's still like one of the like best-looking RCs in the world, even though they're relatively simple.
Well, we do have my buddy Bill Traps here from Pemberton Raceworks. Shout out to Steve and Bill. He's running for Pemberton, and this is, I don't even know which model he gave me. He just came and gave it to me this morning, but I'm hoping it's the newest one. I'm gonna say it is. It may not be, but it's close enough.
Prove us wrong.
Bill's got like 20 of these things, so I'm constantly soldering them up for him. He knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, they're pretty cool cars, and like Tyler said, it's probably one of the hardest racing classes, and it's not because it's hard to drive in a circle. I know some of you guys are laughing, oh, how hard could it be to drive in a circle?
Incredibly.
It's honestly not hard to drive in a circle. It's hard to drive in a circle fast.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a difference between driving a circle and racing in a circle.
Yeah.
Basically, these cars have got to the point where they're so finely tuned that they're basically holding them wide open and running them around the track. So we're talking tenths of a second and difference with setup is making a difference out on the track.
Yeah.
There's no jumps involved. There's essentially just one, or I guess 2 turns, really, the whole time.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of outside factors from your setup that is causing your car to be slow. So you have to really, really focus on your setup, and I give the guys a lot of credit for that one because I'll show you the car. It's not like there's 100 things you can change on this thing, but they've definitely found 100 things to change on it.
Yeah.
So it starts with the body. There's even rules on the body being too low or too high. I took the clips out before I picked it up, so sorry about that. So this is the Nash Truck class, which is arguably the biggest and most competitive at the moment. Maybe super mods coming in, but this is what we ran mostly on a normal basis. This is Trap's car. Nice little paint job he's got here. So this is a Nash Truck class. Obviously, being a Nash Truck, the body deciding that. So this is the Pemberton Raceworks. I can't give you the exact model. I'll have to ask my buddy. But a beautiful car, really. Steve's done a nice job with this. All carbon fiber, aluminum. And as you can see, everything on the car is offset to one side for the weight. And then on the bottom here, he's got a bunch of aluminum and brass weights there in the middle. All tuning options to try to get... there's actually tungsten on this car, too. These things are ridiculously expensive, these tungsten weights. And they're all labeled, different weights. They got scales they put them on. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, and that's where I always said that, like, oval would be awesome if there was a simple class that still...
Legends is the
still
closest.
Would turn well.
But,
like the Legends are kind of like the Tamiya trucks where you watch them in the turns and it's just chatter. It's just you know. These things are amazing when they're set up right.
Yeah.
But you kind of need like a degree in astrophysics to really understand everything that's going on. So like, you know, Tyler's pointed out that all the weight is on the top of the car, I'll say, the left-hand side of the car.
It's the left hand on the track, yeah.
Basically they have the motor pod that the rear axle is on is a floating pod, and they may be it may be controlled by 2 lateral shocks and 1 fore and aft shock like this car. Some cars run what they call a T-plate, which is a spring-loaded, plate that connects the car like from front to back. So there's a lot going on. And I mean, even the way that they I think they probably still talk about tweaking the car.
Oh yeah.
So if you were to put a screwdriver under the back of the pod and lift up on it when the car's on the ground, the rear tires are not going to come up together. They're going to come up at an angle because they're trying to throw weight to, I guess, the inside front tire to get the car to turn. So these are the guys that you'll see with like scales under all 4 tires, and they're trying to like measure how much front weight, back weight, cross weight, things like that. These are the guys that go super banana bonkers crazy on car setup. And then the track will change by 10 degrees and they'll have to go, tweak it again. So it's a tuner's tweaker hobby.
Cut balance that tire is.
Well, and that's the other thing is, like, that tire's just sitting there going like
It's-
this because
yeah,
it's
this
so
thing's
free.
spinning the whole time. It can't even find center. It's so free.
Well, and so I think I mentioned in a podcast
Crazy.
once about vehicle maintenance, how, like, I'll take the hinge pins out of my buggy and I'll polish
this is
them.
Maintenance to the next level on these things.
That's where I came up with this, was from running oval, because to get the front of the car, yeah, that feels nice. To get the front suspension, because these cars don't weigh much, to get it to work smoothly, guys would chuck up their kingpins and polish them with mag or aluminum polish. I know, and the ball diffs, they also go crazy, like getting them smooth, like really, really just dialed in. So the amount of effort that goes into these cars is like next level. Anybody that understands oval racing has my respect.
Yeah, it's definitely an art, and definitely got to be really dedicated. They're even measuring the sizes of the tires to fit the gear ratio,
Rollout.
depending on the track conditions. I was actually talking to my buddy Bill, who has this car, the other day, and he had a whole tote full of different tires that are all within like 1,000th of an inch of each other. And I was like, Bill, what do you got all these tires for? Oh. He's like, those are for different tracks, different gearing. He said, if I want to get a tire, I want to get a pinion in between teeth to get a gear ratio, I'll change the tire size.
Right.
I was like, that's crazy to me, because I'm running off-road buggy. My tires are worn out or they're not worn out.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean? I'm not measuring the diameter to go faster or slower, so that was pretty crazy to me, even for being in the hobby for this long. I was like, oval is still one of the things that they do things that impress me to get speed out of them, because I'm not particularly into the oval. I hang out with the guys that run the racing, so I'm definitely around it. But the little things that they find that they can do to just such a simple car to get 100th of a second is crazy to me. So I do respect that.
Yep.
Driving in a circle really fast honestly makes me dizzy, and I don't feel good, so I can't really do it. I have tried a few times. That's why I kind of stay out of it, unfortunately. But I respect the engineering, so that's where I stay on that.
Yeah.
And then Tyler, I just want to show you. This is actually what they call an A plate now. It's got 2 pivot points. Did you see that? It's
It has two?
spring steel.
Well, right. So a T-plate, you would have the front and rear. Only this whole
Gotcha.
A-frame configuration,
Because it's not. They
I've
used
never
to not
seen
be
that
part
before.
Of, the chassis used to not be there. It was just the T plate there, correct?
No, you would have the
still
chassis
have-
would
alright.
be there.
They
Yeah.
were just usually like fiberglass, right?
The T-plate could be fiberglass, it could be carbon fiber. There were spring steel ones back in the day. There were spring steel ones where they put a slit down the middle, 2 slits, and then you had screws that you could slide. So you could change the behavior of the T-plate without removing it. You could move the screws and that would change the stiffness in different directions and stuff. But again, so like Tyler said, like, it's nuts the amount of stuff that goes into these cars. And now, like, granted, the popularity has waned. Like, in the 90s, the big race, the Winter Blast at KNRC, they would fill the bottom of the banquet hall. There were, I don't know, 300, 400, 500 people at a race.
These cars are still drawing huge crowds.
And, well, but that was back then. And you had, like, Team Associated made oval cars for years.
Yeah,
And so did Trinity.
since out of the game.
Yeah, they got rid of
They've
the
gotten out of
cars
it,
and
but now
everything.
you have these boutique manufacturers that are, I would argue, more in tune with the racers. And I mean, some of the racers, like Teddy Connolly, like Ted designs his own cars. So it's really, if you're into, like, if you love oval racing and you want a challenge, that's where it's at. And
It's
it is
definitely-
rewarding when you get it right. 100% it feels good.
Yeah, it's definitely probably one of the more intense racings of RC cars, I'd say. And you definitely have to, you have to be dedicated to want to learn about it, because it's not something that you can just join in and everybody's just going to help set up your car immediately. Because
Yeah, you can't really expect
it's
that.
a very competitive sport, and the guys they'll help you until they feel that you can beat them, and then you're on your own.
That's no different than Buggy.
Yeah.
I told Silas that Friday night. He's like, you're so nice, you help me. I go, yeah, I'll stop helping you when you're almost
guess
as
that-
fast as me.
I guess that, well, he probably already is almost as fast as you. I know he can beat me.
He is, but I'm not going to shut the kid off.
No, but oval, awesome. We do run that primarily Saturdays. Saturdays at 6 o'clock in the winter time. We stop over the summer, and like I said, we do a few outdoor asphalt oval races. But we actually run different classes for these. These are just for carpet, 100%. These never see anything but a carpet racetrack.
Yep.
They're so low to the ground. I couldn't even fit a pencil under this thing.
Yep. One cell 21.5 for this class.
This is, yes, I believe 1 cell 21.5. They have spec motors. You have to run this motor in this class,
Which is good.
I think they went to open battery this year. It is the Tour RC rules. So if you can look that up, Tour RC, they have national rules that they update every year. I try to keep up with them best I can, but
And I think that's also why they run they run these specific tires, right?
purple stripe spec tires. That's what the stripe is down the middle.
Right. So that's amazing because way back in the 50s when I ran Oval, every manufacturer. So there was BSR, which still exists, and then you had Jayco, which I've actually seen they're coming back or whatever. Every manufacturer made a gazillion different colors. So you would have like greens were soft, and then you'd have blues that were a little bit harder, and then double blues and triple blues and orange and purple.
They still have those, and you can run those in the open classes like SK.
Right, but for a class like this, they're trying to control.
Right.
You run the tire you run,
Yep.
which takes a variable out, which is actually nice, if you're trying to get into
But
it.
again, making it even that much harder to be fast in that class.
Yeah, sure.
Can't change the tires. It all comes just down to the size you run them, really.
Yep.
But yeah, so inside on the carpet, the classes we run for Oval is the Nash Truck is probably the biggest one. They run super mods, which are 17.5 2-cell. Those things rip.
They move.
I got some short videos up on my channel of those things running. They're ridiculous. I can only watch them for a minute before I start spinning circles. But they're pretty ridiculous. They're awesome. Then we run some Legends sometimes, and SK Lite, which is just a cheaper electronic version of the SK.
So the SK is basically an open wheel. It's an open wheel car like you would see an SK if you went to like Stafford Motor
Basically,
Speedway
imagine
or whatever.
More.
It's a modified car.
Imagine this car with just a body that kind of shows the wheels. It's similar, but it's a little bit different. And then we run this same car, but with a NASCAR body. That's spec pan car. They do that for Tour. Basically the same car, different body. The aerodynamics of the body change the car enough where it needs to be two separate classes.
Yep.
That's how close and how minute these changes make a difference for this class.
And so, fun fact. Maybe it's different here, being a flat oval versus like the banked oval that I was used to. But I'm pretty sure you can draft with these cars.
I would imagine so.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because I know in the past, like the modified racers, if you talk to Carissa, for example, she would tuck in behind somebody, wait for them to blow their battery, and as they got soft at the end of the run, she'd pull out, pass them.
Makes
So
sense.
it very much mimics the real deal.
They are pretty fun to watch when you get a bunch of drivers kind of in the same playing field, and they're all kind of just like following each other around in a line and just barely trying to make moves on each other.
Yeah.
It does get pretty cool to watch that.
Yep.
So that's Oval Racing. Outside we run, we got Nas. It's the Nas Truck, but it's made from a Slash. So we run the bigger ones.
Oh yeah.
We call them Thunder Trucks.
Yes.
Thunder Buddy.
We run them out in the asphalt. They're way more durable. We have a good time with those, smashing, crashing, derby in them.
That's an awesome beginner oval.
Yeah, the oval
Class.
outside is much bigger, and we kind of run it a little more square. It's not quite as round. So you get, we run a little bit bigger trucks. I run the 12-turn Trax motors, so those scoot along pretty good on 2-cell. And they do, 30 miles an hour or so. So that's pretty fun. And then we run the Legends out there too, and then we run an open pan car class, so you can run 2-cell, 17.5, whatever you want to run out there. They usually use rubber tires. Like I said, the track's a good bit bigger, so you get
Can
you get some more room to run a little more horsepower, and it's definitely more laid back in the summer. Basically just trying to keep people interested in oval throughout the summer. That's mostly what it's for. So that's pretty cool. If you do want to get into asphalt oval over the summer, would be the way to go.
And the run is your brown.
Yeah, we do have a run with your brown class where we just kind of throw anything we have.
I saw that going down.
One of the best races to watch. It's like a demolition derby.
Yeah, I've ran my Mojave and my truck
God.
on 6S, and I had a speed run car that I just changed opinion on and threw it out there on 6S.
And he still got hammered.
Oh yeah.
He got like a Slash, took him out.
Oh yeah. The Mojave I run pretty good. Nobody can really take out the Mojave, but it doesn't handle well enough to really win the race. But I made my tires bald that day.
Well, it's like in Forza when your buddy's got the C8 Corvette and you're in like a Baja truck and it goes through the turns and the inside tire is coming off.
It's essentially what it is,
Yeah.
really.
Yep.
But it's really fun, and people love watching me wind it up on 6S down the
It's
street.
hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's open
I think
oval.
you guys laughed the whole 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll definitely have some footage. I wasn't doing a lot of filming then, but the open oval will have some filming this year because that's pretty fun stuff. What else do we got, boys? Talked about oval, talked about classes. Did we miss anything? I feel like we missed something at least. The race program is essentially the same as off-road and what we've talked about before, running through races. It's the same thing, just different cars.
Qualifying mains.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary there. It's just a different RC car on a different track, but the same program.
Yeah.
5 minutes race.
We do our own trophy races, our own scheduled events for all that stuff. So check that out on the events page on the RC Madness website. Yeah, I think that's pretty much oval in a nutshell. I'm sure somebody's going to scream at me and tell me I forgot something. But I think we give a pretty good rundown on each one here. Tyler did have some vintage stuff over there. He's dying to show me, though.
So
before we leave here, folks, special.
Further visiting the past.
Novak?
What I brought in was out of
I'll
my
have to get the zoom in ready for this one.
out of my personal vintage collection.
Here we go.
Oh, this is so confusing.
Gotcha.
Tyler, fix it.
Boom.
Okay. Those are two
I'm gonna do one at a time.
ESCs from Novak, who's been out of business for 5 or 6 years now.
Package.
That one is new in package. It's from 1994, I'm going to say.
This baby's crispy.
It would run, I think, 4 to 12 cells, which is back in the C cell days.
12S.
So that's, well, yeah, where 1S was 1.2 volts. And then this one came, this you can pull that stuff out so you can see it.
I'm doing it slowly. I'm teasing them a little.
Well, yeah, okay. Just wipe your monitors.
Ooh,
So
wow.
that's the Tempest. The Tempest came out after the Hammer. That one
Tyler's just spoiling us tonight.
could run even more voltage, and those were borderline limitless turn ESCs. They would run down to like a single-digit mod motor and not even break a sweat. So that was when Novak was the king of the hill. It was Novak and Tekin,
What a time to be alive, huh?
and sadly only Tekin still exists. So, but yeah, thought you guys might get a kick out of some vintage stuff that you might remember.
Vintage Novak. I'm sure some of my newer listeners don't even know about Novak.
I actually ran Novak in a couple of my buggies back in the day.
I had it in my short course trucks when I started coming up here. Unfortunately, they really didn't do great with brushless. They had reliability issues. and-
So answer me something here. So this has got amps on the front.
Yeah, so, all right. There's two cool things about these ESCs. Everybody right now is used to, how do you set it up? How do you set your new ESC up to your radio? Oh, I just do this little, push the button, pull the trigger thing. That didn't always exist. You used to have a couple potentiometers on the ESC that you had one that would set your neutral and you had one that would set your full throttle. And if you did it wrong, the car wouldn't have neutral or it wouldn't have full throttle or whatever. Novak says, we're smarter than that. We're going to create a one-touch setup, which is essentially what Hobbywing and everybody does now, where you go through, pull the trigger, full reverse, neutral, and it would flash the lights, because this did have a green and a red LED. It would flash the lights, and then it's set. So that was revolutionary. I think the Hammer was the first Novak that had that feature. And then, like Tyler was talking about, the little orange knob. These were not programmable ESCs. There was no program card. There was no plug it into a laptop. Laptops, for the average person back then, in the mid-90s, you didn't have a laptop. So the one tunable thing you had on this ESC was, they called it there was some fancy name for it.
It just says current limiter.
Yeah, it was a little knob you could turn, and it would limit the max current that would go to the motor. So if you were trying to kind of mellow out a mod car, you could, take it from 100 down to maybe 80%. And now when you whack it, it's effectively limiting how hard that motor is going to hit.
The CLC2.
Current limiting circuitry. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so that was a big deal because,
pretty
I
cool.
mean, stock class, it didn't really matter. But in the
Right.
mod class, where now we would play with drive frequency and punch and stuff like that, that was the earliest version of being able to do that.
That's pretty cool. This probably could do 300 amps too.
Well, right, because you didn't have, like brushless, you have 3 legs that you have to feed to get X amount of power. With brushed, you had 2 legs. Really, you only had 1.
Right.
So the current capacity of these ESCs was through the roof. But if you want to have a giggle, what's the BEC current?
BEC, I don't even know. Oh, BEC output amperage, 1 amp.
Yeah.
Voltage, 6 volts.
Yep. So we're so spoiled now because we have heavy, fast cars. So whatever. I've got 3 amps, 4 amps, 8 amps of BEC, coming out of my Speedo. 25 years ago, ish, servos were weaker. So you didn't need a crazy amount of current provided to the servo to get the car around the track. The cars also weren't quite as fast. They weren't as heavy. So, I mean, it's an awesome snapshot in time of where the hobby has come from. And like if you can kind of read the capabilities of the Speedos. But yeah, these are awesome pieces. And they fetch a pretty good price on eBay, but
You won't say.
precious.
And Novak was around 5 years ago.
No,
Yeah, they...
I'd say more or less.
No,
more
it's
than that.
all-
It was within the last, 4 to 6 years that...
Yeah,
that-
because you used to be able to still buy their ESCs.
Yep.
That you could use with, because
Not sure the
Kevin.
official date.
Yeah, because Kevin used to run. He swore by Novaks.
Okay.
Because you said the power, the smoothness, they were very good.
Their stuff was really good, and there's their ESCs. I think eventually they did a program box, but they were actually like the LRPs we have today, where you program them by blinking lights. It was American made, American manufactured, American owned, which I like. But Bob Novak, the owner, had gotten to the point where he wanted to retire, and from what I heard, second, third hand, was that the kids just didn't want to run the business. So they closed the doors. But guys like Charlie, I am going to butcher the last name, Sekunga, he works for Hobbywing now. He was for years Novak's like chief tech guy. If you called with an issue, you talk to Charlie, and now he has a YouTube channel, and he does a bunch of like Hobbywing reveals and updates and techie stuff like that.
Check him
So
out.
he's still out there, which is cool because he goes way back. But
That's pretty cool.
yeah,
That's Tyler's time capsule segment
yeah.
for this evening. I
Sorry.
kinda like that. Maybe we'll do another one.
Get off my lawn.
No, that's cool.
I like the little time, the flashback in time. Tyler, maybe bring us another piece from Smithsonian.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got plenty of museum pieces.
We'll bring it for the live event. Bring something fun for the live event.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Ooh. The ideas are just making themselves. All right. Well, I think our next event will be the live event, so hopefully we'll all see you there.
Seriously?
Yeah, I believe that's next week. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So yeah, but thanks for tuning in, guys. Really enjoy the support we've been getting for that. Thanks for listening to our on-road spiel. Hopefully, it sparked some interest in trying out the on-road. And of course, I have all these cars usually around if you want to check them out. So just let me know. But
Mini.
anyway, what do you got?
Minis, come on down Thursday nights.
Olin's all about them minis right
I'm
now.
telling you, it's
Olin wants
so-
people to race against. He's getting his buggy dialed. He's just looking for victims. That's
I'm
all it
telling you,
is.
The car is, oh my goodness. I'm not even,
We'll have Olin on when we do the mini next.
it's a really fun car
if
to
he still
drive.
owns it by then.
Because the curve will have caught up to him.
He would have to sell it, otherwise it'd become popular.
He's going to be moving on to drone racing.
Right.
No.
And on that note, we'll see you guys all again next week for the live event. Hopefully we'll all be able to make it. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next episode.
Yes, sir.